Hey everyone, welcome to episode 18 of Facilities First, sponsored by Hero Facility Services. Today I'm honored to be joined by Nic Stoyer with Bartaco, coming live from his
Oh
truck.
Lord. I
So
don't have.
you're live now.
Guys, I think
Nic,
when you kicked over, I don't know if you can hear me.
we
When you
can hear
kicked
you.
over to this, I lost sound.
Uh-oh. See,
Hmm.
Peyton?
Hold on. Technical difficulty. You're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you. Great. You got me?
I got you.
We're laughing here, aren't we? You got me, but I don't have your sound, which is a problem when you guys kicked over to this.
Hit unmute. Now do you hear us?
Great.
This is one of the benefits of going live is that sometimes stuff happens. So I guess I'll go ahead and just say a little bit more about Nic. Nic is actually the chair for the RIFMA board this year, and he just took that over. So he is a mover and shaker in the restaurant world. Been with Bar Taco for a while, and if you don't know Nic, he's an awesome guy to know. He's actually sitting in his truck because he may have broke his hand, and that's
You got
probably
me?
his. Yeah, I got you. Can you hear
All
me?
right. I apologize. I switched over to my laptop. We're good to go.
Okay.
Technical difficulties.
Well, I was just busting your, you know what? So I mean, you're okay. So Nic,
Nothing like joining a Zoom from your truck. Welcome to my office. This is where I am most of the time anyway.
hey,
So this is pretty fitting.
it's one of the fun things about being live is because stuff happens and you can't do
Sure.
anything about it. So, Nic, I know you're busy and thanks for taking the time to jump on the show. I know we talked about it at the conference and we were excited about it. So, I'm going to do it the way I start every show, just to kind of have some fun. Let's go
Sure.
rapid fire. You ready?
Uh, let's fire away.
Tacos or pizza?
I mean, bar taco, man. I got to go tacos all day, every day.
I was hoping your CEO was going to watch that and you say pizza. But next one, early morning workout or late night recharge?
I'm an early morning guy. I get up really early. I grind really early to set the day and the tone.
Most of them I thought I knew the answer. This one coming up, I don't know if I know the answer. Beach trip or mountain trip?
Ooh, I could do either, but to appease my wife, I will always go to the beach.
Because you just got back from the beach, didn't you?
We just went to Costa Rica for 9 days, and if people haven't been there, it's a very magical place. We went there 12 years ago for our honeymoon and came back, and I thought it would be commercialized, and it wasn't. It was still a magical place. We did
Really?
everything. Yeah.
Well, you just led right in the next one. Family movie night or date night?
We do I would say family movie night. We like to, incorporate our kids in as much as we can, like take them on trips, take them on things, do a movie night, stuff like that, because you only have so much time with them.
That's true. You'll blink and they'll be leaving the house.
Crazy.
So, next one, triathlon, training solo or with a group?
Oh, you're already in a mental war with yourself when you're doing the training that I do for Ironman and stuff like that. So if it could be in a group setting and I have somebody else to laugh about how crappy the situation is, I will always join the group.
Text or phone call?
Phone call all the time.
And this one is going to be kind of funny because what you're wearing, suit and tie or jeans and a quarter zip?
I joined restaurants so I do not have to wear a suit and a tie, right? I half the time I wear joggers to work and whatever else, and people are like, "Oh, you wear that to work?" I'm like, "Yeah, we sell tacos. We're not solving stuff for NASA here."
Exactly. Exactly. And here's the big one. As a Penn State guy, we're going to pretend Penn State didn't have a team, which they really kind of haven't for the last couple of years, but that's beside the point. Uh, Big Blue or the Ohio State? Which one you choosing?
Wait, so I have to be allegiant to them, or as a Penn Stater, which one do I like better than the other?
Pretend you didn't have Penn State. Which one would you pick?
Well, in that case, I would probably have to go Ohio State because of their history and their wins and stuff like that. But if I was a Penn Stater and had to pick one, I'd pick Michigan because everyone hates Ohio State.
And and what'd you say about Michigan earlier? They're everybody knows they're what?
What? They're cheaters, right? Harbaugh left because you got caught cheating, so he went to the NFL.
So if any of you Big Blue fans want to email Nick, his email is
I mean,
so
it's the same. It's the same thing with NIL money, right? They bought the entire team that just won the national championship. They spent $10 million. Good for them.
yeah. Yeah. That's hey, don't you and I could talk about it. We did talk about NIL at the conference, and that's just a whole nother hour long show for you and I.
Well, I mean, you're wearing an Irish shirt, so I have to give you a little bit of grief on here so everyone hears it that you can't really talk about anything till you guys join a conference.
Okay. Michelle Preston and you need to have a chat because Michelle Preston is Catholic and she even busted me on that. So I will take that. But next year I'll be up there and I'll watch Miami lose to the Irish. So I'll be excited, conference or not. But let's get in why I really got you here.
Sure.
Because you are, and I said it while you were trying to fix your camera, you were newly elected as the chair of the RIFMA board. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And you're one of those guys known in the Restaurant Facility Managers Association and in the world as a mover and shaker. You're very innovative and you do a lot of cool things. But for people who don't know the full scope of your role, what does your world at Bar Taco look like?
Oh, wow. Well, I've always played in growth companies, right? I've never wanted to be a cog in a wheel. And no knock to the larger companies out there, but like I feel like you can get segmented and siloed. And so when you're in growth companies, you get to wear a lot of hats. So I work in the development department. I report to the CFO, but also shadow the CDO. My goal is to be a CDO one day. So I do everything from real estate. In a single day, I could touch a myriad of different things. I could solve problems from the facility side, and I have a team that runs facilities. I work on the construction side, and I do stuff with on-site and new builds and new construction. I control the entire equipment package and supply chain around kitchen equipment, our development, our new innovation, and in how we can look to cannibalize and maybe shrink kitchens and do things like that, because square footage is always a hot topic. And then I also, with the real estate side, I do TI negotiations. I do work letters. I do front end deals and working on really getting those reps. So someday when I hopefully become a CDO, or I will, because that's my goal, that I can soup to nuts control and help guide people in all those different departments.
And that's one of the things that I really admire about you is because from getting to know you, you're very driven and you're very goal oriented, whether it be personally or professionally. So I'm gonna talk about being driven for a second. I'm gonna kind of go off a little tangent, but what drives you, Nick?
Oh, I family grew up with a worth ethic. My grandfather worked till he was 85, 80 as an electrician, right? I was an electrician for 20 years before I got into this. That guy fell off a scaffolding, broke his neck, and showed up to work the next day with a halo on, ready to work. Like I was born with it, which is blessing is a curse, because as much as So I have to watch myself at times of how much drive I put into things. But I've always been a person of addictive personality and want to be best of the best. So I try to find things like my career and Ironman and things like that to channel that in
Yeah,
to for, and, mentorship and things of that nature to give back to others. And my drive is really, at the end of the day, I want to leave
I love that.
a legacy that I'm proud of. And that is not necessarily just at my company. Like, there's going to be roadblocks and times where people that work with me or people I mentor or whatever that, they run out of runway, like my guys, and they might have to go somewhere else. Right. And,
Mhm.
but like helping them get to that next point and get to that role that they maybe had a roadblock here or somewhere else, they're going to go experience and do things great for another company. That's a feather in my cap because I taught them and showed them and pushed them, and they're going to make another company successful. And I'm trying to create that tree of growth, not only professionally but personally, with all the things I do with big brothers, big sisters, and trying to be a good dad, and all that is the patriarch of my family. Is I want to, I want people to know at the end of the day they could always reach out to me, and I'll be there to help.
Yeah. And I always tell people that I could leave my boys millions and millions of dollars, but they'll blow through that. But they can never spend a legacy. And that's professionally or personally. And you talked about the people that work with you as you develop and you grow them. It's almost correlated to a coaching tree in football. I mean, because you have your all-stars that kind of come down from the Nic Stoyer tree, those people that you invested in, that you mentored.
Sure.
So that's awesome. And mentorship is something that we could go on and on about. But let me ask you about facilities, because facilities has evolved a lot over the last 5 years. So what do strong facility leaders see earlier than other people that many will miss?
Root cause,
Okay.
right? I say that, and it just pops in my mind, because I think at the end of the day, people that are good at facilities know to solve for root cause. They're going to figure something out. They're going to run analytics. They're going to realize that they have a problem before it spirals out of control and goes across the whole portfolio, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's a product that you installed, like a flooring or something that doesn't hold up to your standards, whether that's vendors that were installing tankless water heaters and not having the condensate catch on it, so they were back flowing into the units and destroying them. It's little things you pick up on when you do this long enough and you're good at your job, that you're saying this is a bigger problem and I need to recognize it now, and then take that and run with it before it turns into a huge mess financially and operationally for the entire organization.
Well, I mean, that kind of leads into the next one also, because of the root cause. You've been very vocal in your career about systems and discipline. Where do facilities teams underuse data?
I I think probably the easiest thing that stands out to me is with manufacturers, right? I wear different hats, so I have the ability to talk to manufacturers all the time. Um, your system tells you a boatload of information. I challenge every partner that or manufacturer I partner with to have a seat at the table, right? I'm a small guy, but I tell them I'm technically sound. I have an electrical trade and multiple trade background, and I'm going to ask them questions that not only benefit me, but benefit everyone else that they're selling a product to. So there's stuff and there's data that you can pull on combi ovens or whatever else that continually come up, that you should be going back to a manufacturer and saying, one, this is a problem that seems to be your problem. Why am I paying for it? And two, how do we solve for it so you can remanufacture something? Or, like, honestly, I go to them sometimes and say, is this a me problem? Tell me what we're doing wrong operationally, and I'll fix it on our end. So it's just a pain, like a less of a pain point, right?
Yeah. Yep.
For sure.
And and that's, and that's one of the great things about partners is because for facility managers, life cycle costing is a huge thing.
Sure.
And so if the manufacturer's saying it's XYZ years and you're seeing you're getting a different amount of years, that's where you can go back and you can help them better their product, and it makes it better for everybody. So, I really think people, the one thing they miss about the facilities world is how big a partnership is and how
Oh yeah.
important they are to each other. And so jumping through that, what separates for your vendor partners? What separates a vendor partner from somebody who basically just throws you an invoice after they complete a work order?
I mean, look, I look for value add partners that tell me what I'm doing wrong, right? Like I am technically sound, my guys are technically sound, but we miss things, right? And it's the same thing where we walk into a restaurant where a manager walked by something 1,000 times and never even looked at it, but just because we're a different set of eyes, they're like, "Oh, why aren't you doing it this way?" Or like you missed this thing wrong with your wall, or partners that value our relationship and come back to me and say, "You have a problem," right? Like, I have partners that reach out to me and say, "You keep fixing this piece of equipment, replace it. Like, stop fixing it." Or, we've noticed a trend on something failing over and over again. Like, this might not be the right piece of equipment for you, and or is it built correctly? Or, you know, a product's spec or something like that. Because I always thought if I ever started my own company, I would sit down at the end of a year and with like a company and say, like, on if I was meeting with somebody on my side and say, here's the $1 million you spent with me. Here's how we can get it to 800,000. Right?
Hmm.
That's a value add partner, right? And that's going to make me say, wow, this guy wants me to be successful and continue to grow, which gives him more work. And then we're charging the hill together versus somebody just parting me to death and piecing me to death and
Yep.
invoicing me to death, right? Like,
Yep.
I'm happy for people to make money. They should make money. Their guys should make money. There should be profitability and they should keep the lights on. But like, I don't need to send people's kids to college, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, let's be partners.
Well, and that's, that's one of the good things is when you find that partner that truly has that investment and ownership in your own company and can come to you and talk about those things,
Sure.
because we all have the same service for the most part, especially in third party facilities. What's the difference? What makes us difference? Is it the communication? Is it the way that we're helping you save dollars? Because we see those trends. We see that you're
Sure.
continuing to spend stuff on it. So how do you create that accountabilities with those vendors without making every conversation, I guess, adversarial, you know?
Well, I think it's an open dialogue, right? Like, you approach everything as a partnership. Um, I have major vendors that we do sandbox testing for. They're trying to do APIs through EcoTrack, my CMS software and stuff. So they'll be like, "Hey, can you launch so many tickets so we can run a data analytics and put notes and what?" So it's creating those partnerships where you have that stuff with them, but then it's also sitting down and saying like we need to be successful and show a P&L profitability so that we can continue to give you work. So like, what do we need to do to work together? What are you like? And we give them feedback. We have quarterly reviews and stuff, and we'll say, hey, you didn't upload these, or we couldn't approve this, and or you didn't do this in a certain time frame. Yes, we have SLAs, right? We have service level agreements. My SLA is 1 page, right? It
Yeah.
basically says, this is how you operate an EcoTrack. This is what I expect you to do to get paid on time. And the reality is, if I have to enforce an SLA, they're not a partner. I'm not going to work with them, right?
That's Yep. Yep.
There's a lot of companies out there that have 17-page SLAs, like with all this legal mumbo jumbo. Like if you're enforcing that, like that's exhausting. And then you're spending all this money with legal team. Like, come on. Like you should be able to pick up the phone, have a conversation with a vendor and like get feedback from them, right? I get feedback from vendors that say your operator's an a-hole or and like treats my guy wrong, or your FM is doing X, Y, and Z. And like we recalibrate and we work as a team so they know it's a two-way street, right? Like it's got to be give and take from both sides because we both want to be successful together and we both want to make money.
Well, and I think it goes back to the rapid fire. I'd rather have a phone call, and you'd probably rather have a phone call. Let's talk about it. You know, it drives me crazy when I get texts or emails because you know as well as I do, as much as you study the mind, that a text and email can come across a lot different because you don't have the tonality, the body language, and so forth.
So I learned a long time ago that somebody reading a text or an email is subjective to their current mood, right? I'm a very direct person because I move very fast with what's going on. So I have to catch myself at time. I write very direct emails to the point, right? And people sometimes come to me and they're like, well, you were rude in that email. I was like, I'm just busy. I'm not rude. I asked you a question and I asked you a question. I didn't like, so like I've learned over time to figure that out or whatever, but you're absolutely right. It's so much easier to pick up a phone and talk to somebody versus, you know, intentionally being perceived wrong via text or email or whatever else. And then you follow up, right? Everyone wants that background documentation to say, we talked about this. So just write an email that says, hey, we had this conversation. This is what we said. Let's move forward with it, right?
Exactly. And that's a good point because I think that's where a lot of people miss it is after you have that conversation, do the full recap and then send it out. And that way you're both on the same page. You know, one of the biggest things I hear from facility managers about the vendors, and it's over and over, is communication.
100%.
And I tell my ops team, you can never over communicate. And so when a vendor gives you a list this long of what happened on a work order, you may not read it always, but you can always go back to it. Correct?
Correct. Yeah. Look, our system has a whole note section. We require XOI reports for PMs where it uploads pictures and everything. Like communication is absolutely key. Like at the end of the day, like execute, tell us what's going on, keep moving forward. Like I wear 7 different hats at a time. I planted, you know what I did this morning? I planted plants at a restaurant because I wanted to keep stuff moving forward. And it's my local restaurant and I take pride in that. And I want it to look amazing. So I planted all the plants. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm doing that I need vendors that communicate properly and tell me what's going on. So it keeps moving forward and I don't have to worry about it. And I have some vendors that once we got on that page and they execute, like great, like especially third party, right? Like, I know you guys do stuff in that realm and everything else. Third party, more than anyone else, needs to super communicate because I'm paying you to make things go away. Like, here's my grease traps. I don't want to know about my grease traps unless there's a problem. Make it go away. That's your job, right? Or here's my Ansel. Communicate to my stores, communicate to my FM, tell them when the stuff's happening, tell them what's going on, keep them informed. And if there's a problem, let us know. And other than that, like that's why I pay that markup for a third party. It's for you to manage.
Well, it's like I tell people, I'm the aspirin for your headaches.
100%.
Because I mean, we shouldn't have to throw stuff back on you. We need to problem solve. We need to take care of things, and we need to take that ownership and that partnership and take care of you. So I'm going to jump into something that's going to make you smile because I think you've been smiling since the RIFMA conference. Now that you're chair of RIFMA, what do you hope to help move forward in the industry?
I just want to continue to educate people, right? Predictive AI is something I'm really pushing. I think there's a lot of value there that when people have the right stuff in place, it could help utilize it. Artificial intelligence is huge. People should be using it every single day. It should be incorporated in your daily life. You shouldn't be afraid of it, and it will make you better at your job. Now you got to fact check and you got to do other things, but it helps, right? I taught my guys how to use it, and like my executive team was seeing emails from them like, "What happened to these guys? They got 50% smarter," and I just laughed and I was like, "It's AI." Like I taught them how to use AI. I taught them how to because they're wrench turners and stuff, and no knocks. They're good at what they do.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't write elegant emails and stuff. And I'm not saying you just use it for emails, but you got a troubleshooting thing and you need to figure something out. It will teach you HVAC, whatever else, so on and so forth. But as the chair of RIFMA, I think the biggest thing I've seen over the years of being a part of RIFMA and stuff, and RIFMA has its place and does so well, is because we educate FMs
Yes.
and we educate guys on your side, vendor partners, people coming up in the industry. There's a lot of people in my position that push papers, right? And at the end of the day, they're paying a bill. They don't know what they're looking at. I'm sorry to say, but a lot, like I was fortunate to grow up in the trade, so I understand how HVAC works and the components of compressors and evaporators, condensers, and how closed loop systems work. I understand electrical. I understand all these things, right? So it makes me more of a deadly weapon. But like this last RIFMA, they did a whole HVAC thing ahead of time where people signed up. They brought in HVAC units and taught people like this is how they work, right? That makes that individual so much smarter when an invoice comes in and they can look at it and say, well, why did we put this part in here? That doesn't make sense. Or why are you trying to charge me 8 hours to replace the compressor? That doesn't make sense. And it's just we have such opportunity to teach people how to be better at their jobs. And that's what I want to promote and keep doing is because, if everyone gets better at what they're doing on both sides, like there'll be more profit and more less downtime, and we'll have
Yeah.
equipment and better sales for everyone.
Exactly. And that's one of the things, education and growth is one of the things I love about RIFMA. I just got my CRFP. I'm on
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm on the vendor side, but I wanted to do it because I'm invested in this. And I want to be able to understand. I do have background that I've been in hospitality restaurants and I've been in commercial real estate. So I have that background, but I wanted to be able to sit at the table and say, okay, listen, I do care about what I'm doing and I do
Yeah.
care about my partners and I want to be the best partner to everybody that I can.
I think you've seen it over the last decade. The CRFP has risen dramatically in requests on resume or on job applications and stuff like that. Companies realize the value behind it and that it makes an individual well-rounded in understanding how a facility works. So it's been a huge win for RIFMA's members, and everyone in the industry for sure.
Yep. Well, we got a few minutes left, but I'm going to go to some fun questions. And this is the way I always end my show. So the first question is, and this is either personal, professional opinion, what hill will Nic Stoyer die on?
Professionally, my team.
Why?
I will if my team is in lockstep with me and we are firing all cylinders and they're doing what I'm asking them to doing, I will die on a hill for any one of those guys or girls
That's
anytime.
that's
Like
awesome.
I will fight for raises, I will fight for bonuses. I will give them my bonuses. I don't care. Like they help me succeed in what I do, and I will die on a hill for any of my team members that actually have the work ethic, and do what I do.
I always tell people there's a difference between a leader and a boss. A leader is going to water that plant to grow, and a boss is going to stunt the growth.
Sure.
And you obviously are a leader. So here's the last one. What is the one question I didn't know to ask you, but I should have asked you?
The one question you didn't know to ask me, but should have asked me. I don't know. That's a tough one. Um, who's the most important person in my life?
Who would that be?
My wife. I'd be dead under a bridge without her.
Good answer. I'll send you the video so you can send this to her. And so on that note, I think behind every good man, there's a great woman. And obviously, you're a good man, Nic, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day. I know you're busy. You're in your office, driving around, breaking hands,
Oh man.
doing what you do, planting plants. But brother, I can't wait till the next time to talk to you, and I appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, I apologize for the little technicalities in the beginning. I appreciate you guys letting me do this for my car. It's been a interesting morning, but that's just the world of restaurants that we live in, and everyone's used to the chaos, so everyone's probably used to this.
Yeah, we just got to be Gumby. I mean, we're used to it. So,
100%.
all right, brother. Be blessed. We'll talk soon. Appreciate you.
All right, take care.
Bye bye.